Hey, welcome. And now we can continue from where we stopped. First of all, we are going to store the brown name value to our provider. And then after, we are going to be able to add sizes. To do this, we have to go to our provider, then product underscore provider dot file, and Ctrl and B to make this wide. And after the shipping charge, we can then add a trainer comma, and we are expecting a test. So this is going to be a data type of string. And currently, we are not assigning any value to it at this point. So we can just go ahead and say it can be null and brand name. And now we can check if the brand name is not equal to null, and the key is going to be brand name and brand name. Okay, great. Ctrl and B to make this smaller. Then we have to go to the attributes tab. Now, in order to have access to this get form data function, we first need to have access to the product provider class. And in order to do that, we're going to be doing this within the widget build. And the reason for this is because we want to easily have access to this contest. So we can say final, and we can just go ahead and specify the type of value we are expecting. It is the type of the product provider, and we can call this product provider, and it's going to be equal to provider. And in the future, we may have a different type of provider. Okay, and we have to import this. I'm just going to click on this, which will automatically import that. And now we can say it of contest. And like I said, in the future, we may have various type of provider. So we have to specify the provider data we want to use from. And it is the product provider. Great. And it passed in the contest. So that was why we have to add we have to do it within the widget build in order to easily have access to this contest. And as you know, within the test form field, it has a property known as unchanged, which is going to take in the value of whatsoever the user would type in, and then get form data, and the key is brand name, and we want to assign the value of whatsoever the user would type in into it. Great. And what we can also do is we can make this button over here to be a bit logical. So what we can do is we only want to start adding sizes before this button would appear. So if the user is yet to add a size, we do not want to display this button. To do this, what we can do again, first of all, we can get rid of this constructor. Remember, the main reason of this constructor is to pass data from one screen to another. And currently, we are not able to pass any data from the attribute type screen to another screen. So we can just go ahead and get rid of this. And we can say bool because it's going to store either a true or a false value. And we can call this underscore entered. It's going to be equal to false default. Okay. And now we want to use the set state, but unfortunately the set state is not available within the stateless widget. And already we have this complaining over here. So we have to migrate from a stateless widget to a stateful widget. And over here, as you know, the test form field has a property known as unchanged. And the unchanged will basically keep track of whatsoever we are doing within this input field. So that's why we are about to use that. even though we won't really use this value. Now we want to set state or changed set state, and we want to change this is enter to equal true. That means the user is currently adding something to our test form field. Now what we can do is over here we can then check is entered is equal to true, then only we want to do this. Else we can just return an empty test widget. Sorry, we need the else over here. Else we can just return a test widget that does nothing. Or we can just say enter size. Okay, or no, or we can just leave it empty for now. And let's see what will happen. Currently, I think we are already in this, so we should wait for this. Okay, so we have no button, but immediately we click on this and start typing something, it would appear. Looking great, right? Great. And now we want to be able to add sizes. To do this, we are going to be using something which you may have not seen before, and it is known as Test Editing Controller. So basically, the Test Editing Controller would also give us access to the actual input of the user, the same or similar to that of the unchanged or using the unchanged. So what we can do is over here and say final, and the type of variable we're about to create is going to be a type of test editing controller, or sorry, the type of value we are expecting. And we can call this underscore size controller. It's going to be equal to test editing controller. Okay, great. And this will help us to grab the input of the user. So we have to bind it now to this form. Test form field. Now within the test form field, it also do have a property known as controller. You can see this controller as similar to that of the unchanged. And now we have to bind that underscore size controller. So this will give us access to whatsoever input the user would type in. And what we want to do is we can again create a variable to store all the sizes. And this variable is gonna store more than one size, so it's gonna be a type of list, and we are expecting string or text. So it's also gonna be a type of string, and we can call this size list, and default is gonna be set to empty, right? Okay, now when we click on this button called add, we want to call first of all set state in order to refresh. Then we can then say underscore size list and dot add. We are having access to this add because it is a list. And what do we want to add? We want to add remember I said this will basically give us access to the input. We want to add the underscore size controller, then the actual, to grab the actual input, we then have to say dot test. This is basically it. And for now, we can just print in the underscore size list. Great. And alt refresh, sorry, alt restart this. And it's gonna work as we expect for sure. You can just go ahead and try yours while I wait for mine. And now I have to open a new terminal and output. Okay, I'm having issues restarting, but I'm just gonna go ahead. The brand name, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and enter size. Size is gonna be small. We can just say L. L. L and click on add. You should see L over there. We have the L. So it has been added to that list. And we can click SM. Okay, so got added to the list again. Everton, some school. And in the next lecture, we are going to be able to display the added item over here.